In this video, I'm gonna filter this water in 3 steps. And yes, it smells as bad as it looks. Okay, step 1. I'm gonna mix this all up and I'm gonna dump it into this beaker here. And I'm gonna try and take off the top layer. And as you can see, there are floating things in the top layer like debris, plant debris. I'm gonna pick that off of the top with a spoon and I'm gonna dump it into this beaker. So let's take a look. So these are all things that are lighter than the liquid because they're floating on top. So I'm gonna try and get out as much as I can out of here. This is the hardest part. Okay. Okay, that's good enough. And here's what it looks like now. It's about the same, and the top layer is gone. There still is some solids down at the bottom, but we are gonna pour off this layer right here, and we're gonna leave the solids behind for the next step. For this step, I have a sand filter. So this is a cup that has sand in it, you can kind of see. And at the bottom of this cup, I poked a bunch of holes in here. You can see some liquid is dripping out. And there's a piece of filter paper so that the sand will not fall out. So this is mostly a sand filter with a piece of filter paper at the bottom. And I'm gonna put this in this beaker right here, and I'm going to pour the liquid from the first step into this sand filter. And just like that. Now notice, I've left behind the dirt and debris from the first step. And we'll let this run for a little bit of time right here. You can see the liquid going through the sand filter and coming out of the bottom of the cup. And what's interesting is the liquid is a different color. It is a pinkish color. And you might wonder what that is. So after step 2, after sand filtration, what we have is a pinkish liquid. And you might wonder why it's pink. Well, it's pink because in the original mixture right here, I put in red food coloring. And the purpose is that I wanted to show you something about a sand filter and filter paper. A sand filter and filter paper will not remove any chemicals that are tiny and that are inside the liquid. So this is a type of mixture called a solution, okay? So although the sand filter was good at removing the larger pieces, it is not good at removing chemicals that get in the water. So this can relate to if it rains and water soaks into the ground, that water could still be carrying chemicals in it, and the sand filter will not get out all the chemicals. So this is one reason why it's really important to filter your water before you drink it, especially if you are camping or in other environment where there could be chemicals in the water. So again, to review, after 2 steps, this liquid has been turned into this. You might be wondering about the odor of each of these. And this one I set up last year. So this is a year old. It's been sitting in my classroom and it smells really bad, trust me. Let's check what it smells like after the second step. Oh, it still smells pretty bad. I would say the odor is a little bit better after 2 steps. For this next and final step, I need all these pieces of equipment. For this final filtering step, we're gonna need some charcoal. I have some charcoal right here. And all it is it's a black powder, And it's made, if you burn wood halfway, like in a fire pit when you go camping, if you burn it until it turns black and it looks all cracked and crunchy, and if you make that into a powder, that's what this is called. So this is called charcoal. I'm gonna need this. I have a spatula so that I can get charcoal out of the jar. I also am gonna need this. This is a filter paper, okay? This is scientific filter paper. I'm gonna need one of these. I'm also gonna need a funnel, and I'm gonna need a little beaker, and I'm gonna need a reaction chamber, so to speak. This is where it's all gonna go into. All right, let's begin. I'm gonna take the top off of the reaction chamber. I'm gonna pour in the pink liquid from step 2. Remember, this is from after sand filtration. So I'm gonna pour the liquid inside of here. I don't need to put all of it. I'll put most of it in there. So the pink liquid is at the bottom. Now, I'm gonna take some of the charcoal. I'm gonna spoon it into this spatula, and it looks like this black fine powder, and it's really messy. I'm gonna put it into the reaction chamber. I'm gonna put maybe 3 spatulas full. There's another one, there's number 2, and then one more. And there is number 3. Okay, now I'm gonna put the lid on and I'm gonna shake it up, okay? And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Mr. Reeves, you have just made this completely worse. I know it looks horrible. It's like, how could this be filtered? How could you filter this water? It is a complete mess. It's pitch black. The water is pitch black. All right, now I'm gonna need to filter this water. So I'm gonna take this piece of filter paper and I'm gonna do a special trick with it. I'm gonna give it a twist and I'm gonna turn it into a filter that can be put into a funnel, just like that. So a cone filter. And if you see, it will fit just into the funnel, and then it will filter the liquid, and the pure liquid should come out into this little beaker right here. So I'm gonna open up the top, and then I'm going to pour in the black liquid. You can see, oh yeah, it's like pitch black. And I'm gonna let it go through the filter paper. So here's a side view. You can see the liquid dripping out. On the top, it is pitch black. And on the bottom, it is clear liquid coming out. What is going on? That is amazing. The water looks crystal clear. So let me explain what is happening here. Charcoal kind of acts like a microscopic sponge. It absorbs impurities, chemicals, and dirt and other things inside the water. And that's how the water went from going pink to clear. Okay, now this pink was caused by a red food coloring dye that I put in the water, just to show you that chemicals can still be in the water after the sand filter. But after charcoal filtration, if you look at the water now, the water is crystal clear, okay? And I'm gonna smell it right now. Let's see what it smells like. Actually, I can't smell a single thing. This has no odor, and the water is crystal clear. Now remember what we started with. This is what we started with, and in 3 steps, I turned it into crystal clear water with no odor. Now here's the question that everybody asks. Can you drink this water? I mean, it has no odor and it's crystal clear. Can you drink it? Well, I did this lab for 5 years and I finally got the courage enough to taste the water. And that year, when I tasted the water had a really weird metallic taste. I immediately spit it right back out and I did not swallow it because it did not taste normal. It did not taste like purified water. So the bottom line is, even though we did those 3 steps to filter the water, there still could be some impurities and chemicals in the water. There are some dangerous chemicals that have no odor and you can't see them, and they could still be in the water. There could also be germs and bacteria that the filters didn't remove. So essentially, you can't drink this water. If you really wanted to do this in the real world, you would probably want to test the water with chemicals in a laboratory to make sure that it's safe to drink. So this water, I've found out, is not safe to drink, even though it has no odor and it looks crystal clear.